The kaiju boom was in full swing, and it had completely entered into the homes of Japanese people, with a show that takes you to a mysterious time. Needless to say, Ultra Q was dominating the television networks of the mid-60s, with its ability to take the special effects from the big screen to the smaller screen. Even the godfather of manga, Osamu Tezuka's own anime, couldn't compete with the kaiju allure that Ultra Q brought. Unbeknownst to the public, even before Ultra Q premiered, Eiji Tsuburaya and writer Tetsuo Kinjo were planning its successor. The goal for this series was to go even further into a world of imagination, where we follow the adventures of a futuristic agency in their fight against impossible odds with the aid of a powerful giant. This would be the series that we would all know and love today as Welcome back to my Ultra Reviews, a series dedicated to exploring the vast cosmos of Ultraman. In the last video, I was brought into a cycle of imbalance given to us by Ultra Q. But for this video, I would like to talk about the series that has become a truly important staple in Japanese pop culture. It did this by capturing the imaginations of children everywhere, and still does to this day. It's this imagination that I want to discuss, as I believe this timeless series truly embodies the genre of science fantasy. If you have not seen this series, then I must warn you, as I will be entering the territory of spoilers. If you wish to proceed despite my warning, then I ask you to join me as I take a look at a series that goes beyond the realms of reality. I'll be careful not to spoil too much of the magic for you. With that out of the way, let's henshin to the video! Hey, real quick, I just want to mention that I have some stickers and leftover art prints for sale over on Etsy right now. Also, I am open up to art commissions, but if you just want to support me directly, I do have a Ko-fi as well. Everything is located in the Linktree down below. Anyways, back to the video. In most fantasies where we go on grand adventures, we follow a group of brave and lovable warriors. This series is no different, as we follow the Science Special Search Party, abbreviated as the 3SP, and is also known as the Science Patrol. They are an international organization, clad in bright orange uniforms, who investigate strange occurrences, eliminate massive threats, and above all else, to protect the Earth. For this story in particular, the Science Patrol is represented by members of the Japanese branch. They're led by Captain Muramatsu, played by Keiji Kobayashi, who is mostly referred to as Cap by the other members. He is stoic and wise, making him the perfect candidate to lead this futuristic team. Although he is not immune to making humorous mistakes from time to time. Next is their second in command, Shin Hayata, played by Susumu Kurobe. Although he tends to keep to himself, as if he was hiding a secret from everyone, his serious compassion and reckless bravery make him someone his teammates can rely on. There's also the communication officer, Akiko Fuji, played by Hiroko Sakurai. Don't let her official role on the team fool you, as she has proven that she is sometimes the most collected and reliable member on the team, even if she is sometimes mischievous. The fourth member is the sharpshooter Daisuke Arashi, played by Sandayu Tokumamoshi. He may be a bit of a hothead, but his caring loyalty towards his fellow man will always come through. And finally, out of the core 5 members, there is the ever so lovable Mitsuhiro Ide, played by the late Masaya Nihei. An inventor by trade, he provides the team with gadgets and weapons that get them out of tight spots. But more importantly, his light-hearted comedic nature makes him undoubtedly the heart of the Science Patrol. While individually they are entertaining characters to witness, I do believe the reason they are still fondly regarded to this day is because of their fantastic chemistry. Even when separated into pairs, each character works so well off one another. There is one member I forgot to mention, and that is the 11-year-old Isamu Hoshino, played by Akihide Tsuwaza. He serves an integral role to the fantasy as the audience surrogate, or in other words, the one that the target audience is supposed to relate to. Originally he wasn't a member, but through his countless acts of bravery, he was able to become a junior member of the Science Patrol. Unfortunately, his time as a member was short-lived as a skiing accident injured the actor's leg while the show was in production. There are other members who appear in the show that aren't part of the core team, such as their scientific liaison, Dr. Iwamoto, played by Akihito Hirata. Each member is willing to risk their life in order to take down anything that threatens the peace of humanity. However, these noble warriors of the future need the right tools for the job. That's why in their distinctly designed headquarters, they are equipped with the latest technology humanity can provide, such as the supergun and spider shot. Their most iconic form of weaponized transportation is the mighty Jet VTOL. All of this allows the creative team to explore beyond what was capable with the grounded cast of the previous show. With the Science Patrol, you can explore different parts of the world, or in some cases, out of this world. The imaginative possibilities are almost limitless when we are able to follow the Science Patrol. Hopefully they're up to the task as they partake on
はい、こちら科学特捜隊。藤谷が現れた。
The most common threat the Science Patrol faces are the strange creatures that visit or emerge from the Earth. Most of their origins are unknown, but the destruction they cause is real. Oftentimes they are at the center of attention, such as the space convict Bemular, who terrorized Lake Yugamori. There are times though where their presence serve as an additional obstacle, or escalate an already treacherous situation. An example of this is the giant Ragan, who had an active nuclear weapon unwillingly attached to it. Regardless of where they lie in the stories, they are worthy foes for the Science Patrol to face. It should be said though that not all kaiju pose a threat, and could even be considered as allies to humanity. Of course though, this was 1966, the height of the Japanese kaiju boom. It only makes sense why Tsuburaya Productions would lean even more into the monster trend for this series, especially since they had access to Toho suits. However, given that kaiju were everywhere in the market, simply having giant monsters would not be enough, even for the great Eiji Tsuburaya. That is why the team would have to use everything they learned in Ultra Q and go even further. And thankfully, they did. These are very imaginative creatures with fantastical tales. There's something to Tsuburaya's cast of extraordinary beasts that sets them out from others during this time. Perhaps that could be due to kaiju like Godzilla and Gamera were in some aspect, even minor, grounded in design. A lot of Ultraman's rogues, though, appear as if there is no real-life equivalent. That is thanks to master artist Toll Narita, who provided his vision to almost every aspect of the show. Within his second rule of kaiju design, they are never to simply be animals who grow large in size. Yet the design is only one aspect that could very much be lost if not properly executed. We should be grateful then, as everyone else was on top of their game to give us adventures full of spectacle. I think a perfect specimen to showcase this is the invisible monster Naranga, who has an appetite for electricity. There was so much effort put into making such an absurd creature feel believable. They could have simply had the monster's roar play as the team sets off explosions. Yet, they decide to go the extra mile and imitate the monster's footsteps as it walks down a hill. This is the type of dedication that is needed to portray such imagination. This dedicated team was led by a number of directors such as Eiji Tsuburaya's own son, Hajime Tsuburaya. Part of the beauty of this being an episodic series is that we get to explore so many possibilities that are produced by daydreams and wandering minds. Such as a kaiju who can transform to adapt to any attack, or a creature who can completely warp our perspective of reality. And even a monster that was, quite literally, born through imagination.
先ほどのお釣りです。失礼します。
It's no secret that our minds can come up with, well, silly things. Even though we love to indulge in epic tales of warriors and monsters, our minds sometimes need to explore the humorously ludicrous, and the show reflects this. Take the uniquely designed monster Gango, for example. It was a creature created by a man wishing on a mystical stone from space in order to cause mischief. In fact, the stone itself has been used by many people to temporarily fulfill their desires. That, though, is only one way the mind can amuse itself. Another way is probably in the show's most hysterical episode, where a kaiju falls from the sky, where its main attribute is being so heavy to such an absurd degree. It's especially hilarious when each attempt to send the creature back to the sky is met with comical consequences.
やつはこっちやってくる。おお、カロや何踊ってやがら。
やつは重すぎてロケット弾では持ち上がらないんですよ。
However, these moments of levity can oftentimes be brief, as our minds and imagination turn to asking questions about the world around us, or even to worlds that lay among the stars. One such question is something people oftentimes ask themselves when they look up to the night sky. Are we alone in this vast universe?
おい、そんな格好で外出すると放射能にやられるぞ。おい。
There is a certain allure we have to extraterrestrials. I believe that is because there is so much unknown about these beings that we often become curious. We crave for answers, yet oftentimes fear of what those answers may be. The show explores our anxieties and interests with those who are from distant planets. By far the most famous example is that of the Baltan. They were a species who set out to make Earth their new home, preferably without humanity. A constant worry we have is that because they have the ability to travel to our home, they must also be capable of many other things. Mephiles came to show off his almost godlike powers in order to convince one boy to hand over the Earth to him. But what about those who say they seek friendship with us? Even then, we don't let our guard down as we fear betrayal. Zarab gives merit to that particular worry, as he misled the Earth into believing his brotherly betrayal just so he can get close enough to wipe out our defenses. Our imagination can take us to such horrific scenarios of monsters and aliens, oftentimes rooted in insecurity. Ultimately, we are afraid of being helplessly wiped out. However, we could be blinding ourselves with terror, that we forget there is also compassion and empathy, even with those who are not human. Perhaps there are those who don't seek our destruction, as they find themselves fond of what humanity has to offer. Through that fondness, an unbreakable bond may be formed, and through that bond, a guardian shall rise. This, for many, is the ultimate fantasy. The dream of someone who can make the impossible possible. Whether we wish to become one or to be saved by one, we forever adore the stories of powerful heroes. In this world, Ultraman, portrayed by Ben Furuya, is that hero. This silver giant tends to show up at the last minute when humanity needs him the most. With a larger-than-life hero, you need spectacular powers. Ultraman has an array of abilities, including the iconic Spacium Ray. Brought to life by legendary Toku VFX artist, the late Sadao Izuku. When Ultraman isn't fighting, he is able to dwell inside the body of Shin Hayata. The two fused when Ultraman accidentally collide with Hayata during the pursuit of Bemular. Ultraman offered his life so Hayata could have another chance at his. With them being one, they are both human and alien. But when Hayata needs to call upon the Galactic Titan for aid, he uses the Beta Capsule to transform into the Shining Warrior. While having an all-powerful hero can be cool, there is one important thing every great hero needs, and that is a vulnerability. It's hard to root for and be satisfied with a hero who doesn't face any challenge. Ultraman's challenge is that he is always fighting against one thing that no one can beat. That being time itself. His greatest weakness is not an object, person, or even a flaw in his physique. Ultraman gathers his energy from the solar rays of the sun. However, due to Earth's atmosphere, he can only fight in a very short amount of time. The color timer will start to rapidly blink red when his energy is about to run out. If his timer were to ever stop, he may never rise again. With this context in mind, this means that his actions are truly selfless. Every time he goes to fight, he is putting himself in imminent danger just so we can continue to live. Despite it all, he still manages to come on top. In many ways, Ultraman is the ideal hero for a fantasy of spectacle, an all-powerful being with a genuine love for human life. Yet, he may be too perfect for us lowly humans. While we use imagination to dream of adventures and fantasies, it can also be used for darker and possibly sinister intentions. Thoughts fueled by selfish desire can plague each and every one of us. Sometimes people commit heinous actions because of said desires. Yet, there are times where the people who take destructive measures are victims themselves. My Home is Earth is one of the most iconic and heartbreaking tales in this series. Jamila was an astronaut who became lost to the vastness of space. Yet, he managed to survive. In fear of what this could mean for humanity's perception of scientific development, the ones in charge abandoned Jamila and kept his life a secret. On a hostile planet void of the substance that gives Earth its life, Jamila's heart became bitter, rageful, and his body mutated to reflect such change. He soon repaired and even modified his ship so he could set himself on a path towards Earth, with the desire for revenge. At the end, though, he was killed with the very same substance that he lacked for some time, all for the sake of peace. Now his body lies beneath the soil and trees, where his eternal home is Earth. Akio Jisoji masterfully directs this story, written by Mamoru Sasaki, that showcases both humanity's empathy and apathy. What makes this narrative work so well is that the normally lighthearted Ide, who was at first eager to defeat the enemy, becomes morally conflicted once he finds out that the enemy was once human. It's especially impactful because this moral conflict doesn't resolve as he looks to Jamila's grave, where his imagination takes him to wonder if he may one day be the next Jamila. Yet, Ultraman still came to humanity's aid to defeat Jamila. In fact, he has come to save humanity so many times. While Ultraman's intent is to keep hope alive for humanity, his constant interventions may inadvertently and ironically inspire hopelessness in some. If left uncontrolled, our imagination can cause us to overthink everything we have ever done. It can sometimes spiral into tricking us to only consider what we have yet to accomplish. In the case of Ultraman, this is something that Ide finds himself trapped in. He could only see the kaiju that the Science Patrol didn't defeat, which unfortunately resulted in him almost giving up his own will to fight. As a consequence, a brave little kaiju gave up his life in order to save Ide's. Sometimes we need reality to confront us head-on so we can escape a hopeless cycle. It can sometimes be painful, but is ultimately necessary. The lesson Ide had to learn was that Ultraman will not come to our aid until we have given it our all, because there may come a day that he cannot. This is the greatest alien invasion Earth has ever witnessed. Even with such a massive threat, the Science Patrol swiftly takes out most of their fleet. But, unbeknownst to the team, the enemy had successfully infiltrated the Science Patrol HQ. The team tracked down and took out this intruder. However, in the alien's dying breath, he called out the name, Zedon. This is the final challenge of the Science Patrol, and even for Ultraman himself. This is what many heroic epics build up to. One last battle of ultimate proportions for our heroes to triumph over. Or so it seems. In quite an unexpected twist, it was our hero Ultraman who has fallen. A horrific anomaly for sure, even with modern heroic tales. Although this may seem something to be seen as a tragic end, it is everything but. In fact, it could be argued that Ultraman's defeat was necessary, as it was the catalyst for the Science Patrol to seek victory with their own hands. The ultimate goal for Ultraman, both as a hero and as a series, was to help guide humanity towards the right path, through the use of imaginative adventures. Ultraman's efforts would be all for naught if we ended up only relying on him to solve our problems. Yet, it is time for Ultraman to leave, and sometimes it's hard to say goodbye. By the time Ultraman's brother-in-arms Zafi arrives to return Ultraman to the Land of Light, even Ultraman doesn't want to leave because of how much he's grown to be fond of humanity. Zafi is the voice of reason, as he tells Ultraman he cannot stay, as humanity must be able to take action towards a better future for themselves. Even then, Ultraman doesn't want to sacrifice the life of Hayata. Thankfully, Zafi was able to separate the two, and Hayata returned to Earth with no memory of the many adventures he had with Ultraman. Almost as though it was all a dream. A dream that we too must awaken from. Our imagination would be in vain if we only used it to escape the realities of life. Instead, imagination can be a powerful tool that allows us to solve problems, and more importantly, to give us hope. So with that, we must return to our lives with the lessons taught to us through the imagination of this show. It is why it's important for us to say, farewell, Ultraman. Alrighty, thank you so much for tuning into this video. This video has been cooking for a while now. In fact, I had to re-record this outro. Like, this is the third time I'm recording throughout the entire length of this project because it's been cooking for so long. If you notice, my voice sounds a bit different now than it does during the recording of the entire video, and that's because when I recorded the initial video, I was still recovering from an illness, so my throat was still a little iffy, but now I'm obviously much better because, again, that was back in May when I initially recorded everything, and now I'm literally about to finish editing this video, so yeah, just to give you a timeline of how things are going. But yeah, I think this is the last time I'm going to be doing a long edited video like this. Like, next edited video I do, whatever that is, I want it to be like 10 minutes or less, to be honest, because it takes a long time to edit videos, especially for me. I'm a slow editor, but I do think it's ultimately worth it for a series that I hold dearly. And by the way, I'm not editing this outro. No, I'm done editing audio for at least a bit. But yeah, I do want to get the ball rolling as well on the Ultraman and Kamen Rider reviews. So that means the videos are probably going to be shorter, but hopefully in a faster rate. And also, like I mentioned before in the ad, near the beginning of the video, I could really use some support. So if you do want some stickers, some art prints, if you want some personalized art or whatever, you know, I got you covered right there. And also my art services will be for YouTube thumbnails. If you want some thumbnail art, I'm more than willing to do that. Yeah, and then again, if you don't want to spend the money on either stickers or prints or even a commission, because I know some of the prices for my commissions are a little bit high. Again, you know, sorry, that's the fan of my laptop kicking. I do have that Ko-fi link if you just want to drop a couple bucks down there. That's more than appreciated. I also have a comic coming out this summer. I don't know exactly when, because I had to take a bit of a break from it to finish this video up. But yeah, the plan is for this summer. I have the cover art done. I also have the script finalized. It's just now to the actual, you know, drawing process of the comic. But yeah, I'll definitely have a trailer up for that whenever that comes to release. I don't know all the details yet. I do have info on my Twitter about the comic. But yeah, that said, I really do love this series, and I really wanted to give it the proper treatment I think it deserves. I wish I could do it for all the Ultraman series and all the Kamen Rider series, but I just don't have it in me. I don't know when the next Ultraman or Kamen Rider reviews is. I do know that Kamen Rider X will be the next in the review series. I still need to finish watching it, but I less than 10 episodes or about 10 episodes away from finishing Kamen Rider X. Once that's done, then I'll hopefully get the ball rolling on the Showa series. So yeah, if you want to watch Ultraman, it's available on, it's pretty available because it's through Shout Factory if you want to just stream it, because it's like on Tubi TV as well, and it has some very affordable Blu-rays that you can buy. You got options for Ultraman. And once again, I just have to say thank you so much for tuning in. I know the channel has been pretty inconsistent. That's just because a lot of life things are going on. But yeah, hopefully this video finds you and finds you well. If you like what I do, please subscribe to my channel to see more content. Or I don't even like saying content, more videos. Some unedited, some edited. I might be doing live streams soon. In fact, maybe the day after this comes out, I might do a test stream. We'll see how that goes. And yeah, if you like this video or like Ultraman, press the like button. Comment telling me what you love about Ultraman, not just the original series, but the franchise as a whole. And the most important thing of all is that I hope you have a fantastic day. Take care and shoo watch!